This is Star Up, Star Down, brought to you by Wild Fork Foods and Johnson Fitness and Wellness. I'm going to keep it to Star Down, and I'm going to start off with DaRon Bland. He's garbage right now. He's awful. Bobby, not going to pick an early fight with you because I wasn't totally against trying to get Bland locked up, but you are a humongous fan of him, and he has done nothing since he got paid. Marvin Harrison Sr., the Colt all-time great, and maybe car wash scary figure, he just blasted the Cardinals' offense. It's unwatchable. It's so disgusting. I don't even talk to my son about it. Basically trashing Kyler Murray, the offensive coordinator, and everything Cardinals offense. That was Pops. And then he goes and basically matches his career high in catches in the first half as he destroys and humiliates DaRon Bland. Even CeeDee Lamb was on the sideline. You don't see that very often, looking at the scoreboard after DaRon got the crossover put on him, and he's like, ooh, that was ugly. Wilson had a 50-yard catch to suck more life out of you to start the third quarter. It looked like that was on Bland. I couldn't tell if that was man or zone, but if it was man, it was definitely DaRon Bland. His tackling effort against Harrison on the sideline was embarrassing, was awful. DaRon Bland is terrible, and he just got paid $90 million. Big, fat, humiliating star down to Bland.
He's on my star down list. He's also on my new category, star out. Get him out. Get him out. Star out. Get him out. I don't want to see him anymore.
You know what? Let's keep star out for 720.
I got plenty.
We'll make that.
I got 5 more.
Bobby, what is up with Bland?
Yeah, that was bad. And I'll say this: the tackling effort is not normal for him. He's usually not.
He had a game, I think, a couple of games ago where I gave him the star up because of his tackling.
Yeah, it was Washington. He played really well that game, and he was tackling. He tackled Jaden Daniels like right in the open field on a 2-point conversion. He had a pick six that game. I don't think Bland has been awful this year. He was awful yesterday. I think overall he's been decent. He also was coming like
here's my problem with Bland to start off. Sorry to cut you off. When you're paid like that, and I'm thinking, okay, you can be a team's number one corner. I'm not saying shut down, but number one. When you're opposite of Marvin Harrison, I need to see you make like
a play.
A couple of
play.
I belong on this guy efforts. I can run with this dude. I can break up some passes. It's going to be a challenge. Like, at least you belong in the same vicinity as the other one. I haven't seen that at all. I can't recall. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 or 3 here and there, but not one time am I like, okay, I feel okay and comfortable because DaRon Bland is on their stud. That has not happened for me once this season. Jake Ferguson fumbling in field goal range down 10-0. That was after he had a bad hold on that drive as well. That's when Stephen A. Smith dapped up Jerry and said, okay, I'm out of here. People were debating whether Stephen A. was trying to hold back laughter right there versus just sitting there as Jerry Jones's best friend. I'm a little bit surprised. Now, he's already got his $20 million a year contract. I'm a little bit surprised that Stephen A. is kind of taking off the mask and showing everyone else throughout the country who doesn't understand it's all an act that he's sitting next to Jerry and he's kind of a Cowboy fan when it suits him to do the show at Texas Live.
I mean, it's it is theater. It is entertainment.
Giving away their shtick a little bit.
They are. I support. It's breaking down that fourth wall, or whatever they call it, whatever that term is. Breaking down the fourth wall.
So, weekly guest of the GBAG Nation, Jake Ferguson, star down, had one of the team's 3 fumbles. Where else you going with it? 877-881-1053, Franklin Injury Attorney text line.
Star down, is anybody playing right tackle for you? That's not very good right now. Terrence Steele was not good in this one. And then when Nate Thomas had to step in and play right tackle, that was probably worse. I think if you look at the numbers in terms of the pressures that they were giving up. Yesterday, Terrence Steele gave up 5 pressures on 29 pass block reps, which is a significant number when you consider just how frequently they're dropping back. But it's 29 on 29 snaps. It was 5 pressures allowed. Thomas had 18 pass block reps. He had 4 pressures allowed. So he almost equaled Steele's total in 11 fewer reps. It was just 9 pressures from your right tackle yesterday.
Terrence Steele is so sideways. Every time I watch him, I would tip off the FBI if I was the NFL. That's the only other explanation for that. The explanation when Nate Thomas came in for him at right tackle was migraines that I guess Terrence was dealing with before the game. Well, he is a damn migraine with the way that he is playing, but literally sideways. Just turns sideways as if he is escorting someone into the club as a bouncer right towards Dak Prescott. Josh Sweat had a freaking night. He put it on Guyton early. He put it on Steele. Ferguson held him. That's the hold. It was on Josh Sweat. Steele in the third got beat for a loss of 10. You're having a nice third drive. And then you end up third and goal on the 15 with Terrence Steele.
Killer.
4 early pressures, field goal. You have to settle for that, and it's 24-10.
8 pressures from Josh Sweat in this game.
Is that a lot?
Yep. It was 1 out of every 4 pass rush reps he had. It was 25%. He was getting pressure on. And so, I mean, they were that's a team that we talked about it yesterday with Darren Urban from the Arizona Cardinals, that they were not getting pressure this year. The Cardinals were not getting to the quarterback. They had one of the lowest pressure rates in the NFL. And you gave it up to them yesterday.
And they had, you mentioned the hold on for the penalties were untimely. There wasn't a lot of them. There was only 6 of them, right?
Arizona didn't have their first accepted penalty until the opening drive of the third quarter.
Oh, you mean on the 3-play, 74-yard drive? Oh, you mean that one? Yeah, you come out of halftime, you're all ready to go, and then you allow a 3-play, 70, like it's the 07 Patriots?
Michael Wilson, 50, longest catch of the year for Arizona.
We thought they were going to go for a 60-yarder, right? Because the Cowboys usually do a 60-yarder
typically
every game.
Then a 19-yard run, and then McBride on Marquise Bell to make it 24-7. And they did all that in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Arizona was the only team in the NFL without a drive of 74 or more yards this season. They put up back-to-back 74-yard touchdown drives.
Did one of them in 3 plays.
To Choppy's point, yesterday it was when these penalties were happening.
Right.
It was
there was a third down. The third down completion of Lamb gets called back, right?
Third and 6, incomplete to Trey McBride. It's a penalty on Marquise Bell for holding. First down, Arizona. Then it was 3rd and 7 at the 26. That's the play Choppy's talking about. They complete it for 14 after Dak is almost killed in the pocket. Extends the play, gets it to Lamb for 14. It's holding on Tyler Booker. Then you had the
Pickens penalty.
Yeah, you had 2nd and 7. You got a Pickens first down. That was the Jake Ferguson holding that you were talking about. They had a Jacoby Brissett on 3rd and 16. They stopped them, but they ended up getting a penalty on that one as well. And so, I mean, it's just all night. It was when the penalties occurred, they were at awful times.
And then the other Pickens penalty you're talking about, which is the unsportsmanlike, right?
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about where he's showing the ball, the taunting.
Did you think that was ticky-tacky?
Yeah, it was a little ticky-tacky. I get what they're trying to do, but it's like, come on, man. This is a game of emotion.
Which, I mean, and that one was negated a little bit by literally the next play. Dak ran for like 15, and it was first down again. They lost clock time is what they lost.
Yeah,
there,
but that doesn't matter.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I thought it was a ticky-tack call, and ultimately it's like, to me, the Ferguson fumble's bad, but when they then get a stop and they block the kick and they score, it's like, all right, well, it kind of neutralizes the weight of how bad it was for you. 3
early drops in this one, including Kavontae Turpin.
Turpin's was bad. Schoonmaker's was bad. Ferguson on the goal line on 3rd down, that's one where it's like,
that was just a bad play.
Somebody's on him. It's one of those ones that's like, you should catch it. But is it like a classic drop? No, it's not one where it's like, oh, he's open and it just hits his hands and nobody was there. Somebody made contact with him, but he's supposed to finish those plays, especially after they paid him.
Back to the offensive line for a second. There could be a trade announced this morning during our show with today being deadline day, and if it was on the offensive line, I would not have sat here and been shocked. They were so terrible. And are we letting Guyton off the hook by just focusing on Steele? Dak Prescott was under siege. We're lucky that the ankle getting rolled up on was not even worse, especially when you saw him limping back to the locker room during halftime. Bobby, you were focusing on him afterwards. I'm not just putting this on Steele. This entire line, and I'm going to throw Guyton in here again, more in post-huck clarity tomorrow at 7:20. But this line has been so bad that I wouldn't be totally shocked if they're not going to because they got so much invested up there. But these guys are playing replacement level football to me.
Yeah, I think right now there's a few different things.
Booker had a hold that erased a 3rd and 7.
One, I think Tyler Smith is hurt. Like, Tyler Smith still is not right with his leg.
He got beaten.
That was a bad beat
at the end.
He's hurt. Guyton, I didn't think Guyton had that bad rep. The first drive or two, Guyton was bad. I thought Guyton settled in. Like, Guyton was not as consistently having problems as I noticed Steele having. So I'm hoping I'm going to see that he played well for the most part after the first drive or two. Booker, for a lot of the game, was good in pass protection. He did have the hold, and then I think he gave up a couple pressures late. But for the most part, he was good. BB was not fantastic that I could tell. So, but to me, it was just you were out there consistently blocking with 4 because the right tackle, no matter who was out there, was just terrible.
Brian Schottenheimer on not being able, again, to put up that offense that we have been accustomed to, dropping 40 on everyone at home.
I think it all starts again. We just got to keep Dak upright. Today we didn't play the game we wanted to play today in terms of, we ran the ball well, but the score got to the point where it felt like we had to go. And so we did. And we wanted to do that to speed up the game and try to get, as many opportunities as possible for us. And, I really wish that game could have played a little bit different because I do think that, Javonte and those guys are running the ball well, and I think his numbers show that.
No plays of 20 yards until the third quarter. It's the first time the Cowboys offense has been held without a point in the first half since Week 9 of 2021 against Denver. The offense that entered the game having scored in a record 20 consecutive quarters failed to do it in the first 2.
Yeah, the line is it's making me struggle with Dak last night. Because he wasn't great. But the line was bad, so I don't know that I could give him a star down. This was probably though his worst QBR game of the year. I haven't looked at the rest of the
Denver
games,
I can't imagine Denver was great.
I think his QBR was in the 60s for Denver because he ran the ball well, but he ran it last night too. But he was not sharp, and you wonder it did look like he got rolled up on. But he has not been exceptional in the last 2 games.
Prescott on what has happened to the offensive rhythm.
If I had that answer, we wouldn't be struggling, to be honest with you, and not to, not to leave it at that. But that's what this bye week's for. We've got to figure it out. We've got to figure out how we need to improve, obviously, in all phases of the game. I mean, special teams did a hell of a job tonight getting us a touchdown. That was the only spark, I think, in the game for the most part, especially in the first half. And that's what this bye week's going to be all about. Me personally, hope everybody on this team individually, and I know for sure as the staff and an organization, it's going to be about how can we improve and fix these last 2 weeks that are nowhere close to anything that we want to be.
Yeah, Chop, you were right about Denver. The QBR was a 64. His other game that was in this bad vicinity, QBR-wise, was Chicago at a 39, and this one a 36.5. What was he like afterwards? A little more frustrated as well, Prescott?
Yeah. And I mean, he was banged up a little bit walking in the locker like we talked about. He's saying he's saying it's not a problem. He said it got rolled up his ankle a little bit. He's like, it'll be fine. I finished the game, and we've got a bye week, so I'll be fine. But he's clearly a little bit more frustrated. I don't think he loved the way Archer had phrased a question at one point where, Todd said it looked like he held on to the ball a little bit longer. And he goes, I held on to it longer. And was just like, no. Like I had to get, I held on to the ball as long as I could and got rid of it. Like that was not me holding it too long. And so he had some testiness last night. So did Schottenheimer. So did Jerry. And at the end of the day, that's not going to make it. That's not going to move anything for anybody. You should be mad. Nobody's going to say that's going to fix anything. But they're not putting a sunshiny, optimistic face on it this morning, I don't think.
Because they know they butchered the schedule that they had to have. You lost to Carolina and Arizona. And you're basically screwed. You have a bye, you're at Vegas, then Philly, KC, at Detroit, the Vikings, who just got a big win, the Chargers, who are still tough. Then you're at Washington and at the Giants. So at best, it looks like 3 wins at best for a team that's 3-5-1.
Right now, let's welcome in sideline reporter, newsbreaker extraordinaire. It is Kristi Scales. Good morning.
Is it?
Yeah, today
man, Kristi,
sucks.
you're right. Yeah.
Man, like, if I'm just being honest, and this isn't going to be in the form of a question, I'll just warn you of that. It felt like the one thing I could hold on hope to is, regardless of who we played at home, the offense showed up and showed out. Whether it was a supposed good defense, a mediocre defense, or a bad defense, we were going to show up at home and put lots of points on the board. And that's why my world really got shattered yesterday, because our offense didn't show up at all yesterday.
Yeah, that's what's so disappointing, because this is the second game in a row where Dak was just consistently harassed. I know in Denver, you look at the stats, and it was only 2 sacks, but I mean, he was affected that entire game, and against a really good Broncos defense. And I know that statistically, the Cardinals were average or just above average in most categories entering the game, but they did a real good job of getting to Dak. But, you know, it's the same thing with this team. I feel like a broken record. You know, it's self-inflicted wounds. And yesterday, add to the list, dropped passes, right? Weren't there 3 dropped passes in the first half? Along with the 6 penalties overall, but really ill-timed holding penalties in the first half that negated a couple of third down catches. So, yeah, I mean, this team, you know, it's hard enough to beat an average Cardinals team when you're beating yourself as well. So, you know, that's what's frustrating. It's just the same old, and you would think that the offense would come in guns blazing against that unit. But, man, and then come to find out afterwards, you know, Terrence Steele had been suffering some symptoms of migraines, right? And so his being replaced by Nate Thomas there in the fourth quarter at right tackle, you know, try and find out how much more. You know, I didn't report on Steele being injured because, you know, he wasn't receiving any medical attention on the sideline, but and he'd never admitted himself, he'd never blame anything on, you know, not feeling well, but you just wonder how much that may have played into the struggles that he had last night.
So I want to make this clear, and I know we're all in agreement on this. We want Terrence Steele to get better, to feel better, to not have to go through those migraines, because those symptoms can be absolutely brutal. That is what we can all agree on. As an aside, is there any part of you that wants to see more of Nate Thomas, either at right tackle, or if you want to swap him and Guyton out? I don't know. I am excited about the potential to see a little bit more, because unfortunately it feels like Terrence Steele has struggled a good bit this year.
He has, you know, and hey, if it's a meritocracy and if your, you know, personnel changes were made. I mean, there were some guys getting additional time, but I mean, that's part of the bye week, right?
Yeah.
Is to assess it. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out and who, you know, if there's any shared reps or any changes at tackle, you know, next week once they come out of the bye. So I think that certainly is something to watch for.
Now, you had mentioned the penalties. You also mentioned the drop passes. I think if you throw in one more thing that pretty much describes all of the Cowboys' offensive breakdowns this year, and that is fumbles from the running back. Like that those trio of things feel like they have been at fault for almost every time the Cowboys have shot themselves in the foot.
And what was so disappointing about that with Javonte was that the previous series, he showed what a complete player he is. And by that I mean he was Johnny on the spot to recover the fumble, right? Earlier to prolong the previous series. He also had a great blitz pickup in that same series. And then let's see, that's the one that ended in a score. And then the next day, then he's the one that gives the ball up. So it's like, I'm actually working on my posting for Dallas Morning News, Sports Day Online, sideline exclusive, and I had a little nugget on, oh, man, Javonte, look at this, great off-the-ball player. It's what they'd always say. Remember, Jason Garrett would always say that about Zeke, what a great player off the ball he was, in addition to good runs. And I think Javonte showed that, but then you come back the next series, and then there's, give the ball up again. So, yeah, that's just it's just so frustrating. And, the thing about it yesterday, there wasn't too much to cheer for in the game.
No.
And you finally get that momentum with the blocked punt, right? That was like a lightning bolt. It delivered electricity to the crowd and to the sideline. And it's your only score for the Cowboys in the first half. And then what happens after that?
Methodical
Defense
drive.
Can't get off the field.
Yeah.
Can't get off the field, and they drive 11 plays, 74 yards, and extend the lead, the Cardinals' lead, to 10 points. And then, the halftime, it was such a great halftime show honoring the military, and people stayed in their seats, and they were into it. And then, okay, let's get a good start to the second half, and boom, 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 3 plays, and the Cardinals extend the lead to start the third quarter. And just, there were very few steps forward last night, but every time they took one, it was 2 steps back or 3 steps back, and they just couldn't get anything going. And, we didn't expect that from the Cowboys offense. I will say, for the Cowboys defense, as bad as it was at times, and how they couldn't, get the stops on third down through the first 3 quarters, they did get 3 stops in the fourth quarter. They forced 2 punts, and then there was the stop on downs with just under 3 minutes to play. So they did give the offense a chance. And there was the touchdown pass to Flournoy in the fourth quarter, but the offense just couldn't take advantage, and mainly because they just didn't do a really good job of protecting Dak.
Yeah, that's got to be fixed in order for this offense to get back to what it wants to do. Kristi, you've been on the sideline for some of the greatest Cowboys teams, some of the worst versions of this Cowboys teams, and where we are right now. Last night, Shoddy said, he has never questioned their work ethic or their integrity, their fight. When you see these guys come off the field and go into their hey, what are we doing? What are we seeing? Are you seeing that same level of intensity in that group?
I am, and that's what's frustrating is they're just getting beat. It's just getting. It's not effort. It's execution. I mean, what are the things on defense? Alignment, assignment, execution. Right? Alignment, assignment, execution, and all the communication errors for through the first half of the season. That's alignment and assignment, right? And then executing some missed tackles, So sometimes you just get beat. Sometimes you just don't have the horses, right? And so you try and make a move today, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like everyone's like, oh, pass rusher. Well, heck, you need help at all 3 levels of the defense, do you not?
Yes.
So you address one of them, and maybe there's more to be addressed as we go on today, but. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. But you're asking me, am I seeing lack of effort? No. I think the guys are giving their best, but so far it hasn't been good enough. And the other thing is, it's such a small margin of error, right, in the NFL, because the talent is really so close that you just can't have these self-inflicted wounds. And they're just. Beating themselves as well as getting whooped by the other team. So
what do you know about Logan Wilson? The potential trade of him and what is like how he might help and affect this team.
Well, I don't know if he was inactive yesterday just because they were trying to, save him for a trade, knowing that was coming up. But I know that his playing time had gone down recently these last few weeks. I think that it's an affordable thing, right? You're going to owe him, just under $2.5 million for the rest of the season, and then he has base salaries just at $6 and $6.5 million the next 2 years. So not a lot of risk there, and you need improved play at linebacker. So that's been it. Didn't you guys, weren't we kind of in agreement that we liked kind of what we saw in training camp at linebacker and weren't expecting this in the regular season? Or
whoops.
I
saw what I saw.
What we saw in camp.
Yeah, I saw what I saw in camp. I know what I saw, and it has not translated to the next part of the schedule.
Are the Logan Wilson types of moves, because you mentioned his salary of the next 2 years, and none of that is guaranteed, which I think is absolutely a positive. Are those the only kind of moves that make sense to you for the Cowboys today, like players that are potentially under control for multiple years as opposed to a rental, which I'm going to be honest, makes literally no sense to me?
I would say no. I say swing for the fences, because the offense, I know that they struggled last night, but this is a very good Cowboys offense. And do you know if you're going to have this same offense moving forward? Are you going to have Pickens next year?
Right.
I'm just talking about contract-wise. What is the state of the NFC East? I mean, the Eagles have done better the past few weeks, but they've got flaws. The NFC is still pretty much wide open, at least from a wild card standpoint. I know Seattle and Sam Darnold looked terrific the other day, but they looked terrific on Sunday night. But guys, you can't. I know some people are saying don't give up any of the picks and don't give up any of your young players, but how many chances are you going to have with an offense that is really this good and this dynamic, notwithstanding last night with those
or the week before
wounds and drop passes? But guys, I am not for play for picks later on and better seeding and stuff. Loser mentality. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it, and I don't want the Cowboys to ever subscribe to that. So I say if there is a move to make, by golly, go for it.
Okay, you know that I love you.
I know you disagree with me, and that's fine.
We are.
No, I mean that's why we have talk radio, right?
We are.
I'm telling you how I feel because. I see it on the sideline. I see the work that they put in. I know that, the amount of time that we get in the locker room, or I do a lot of events with these guys, whether it's community service or corporate partnerships kind of stuff, and you just don't want to give up on anything yet. And as bleak as it's been for this defense, get help at a couple of levels, and maybe so. They just need to be average. They just need to be good enough to set up the offense. And they actually did that in the fourth quarter last night, and at least giving the offense a chance, and the offense didn't come through. So maybe it's because you got to be out there every day at the Star, but I don't want to give up on anything at this point because it would make for a dreary rest of the season.
You are 100% right about that. I think when I look at it right now, you need to go 6-2 the rest of the way to make the playoffs. And I just don't see a way in which this Cowboys team, even a turbocharged Cowboys team, goes 6-2 when you haven't even gotten to, like, theoretically the tough part of your schedule. That's my issue. And I hear you. I guess I don't view it as having a loser mentality. I view it as you're not going to make it to where you want to be this season. That's almost a done deal. So I think you're chasing good money. I think you're chasing bad money with good money if you make moves today.
It's just one of those things where don't you wish the trade deadline were a couple weeks deeper into the season?
For sure.
Honestly, because that would change a lot of things for a lot of teams, and you'd have more sellers, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on that.
And I know that it's a little later than it was as recently as 4 or 5 years ago.
And they're
it
still
was
pushing to move
recently
it.
that they pushed it back by a week or two.
Yeah.
But I would be in favor of pushing it back further. But the other thing is playing the Cardinals. I'm not surprised because it's just freaky things happen with the Cardinals ever since they went to the NFC West and realignment in 2002. Just bad. It doesn't matter what the record for the Cardinals is or the Cowboys.
Right.
The Cardinals are just somehow have the Cowboys number. And in fact, I'll let you guys guess who was the quarterback for the Cowboys the last time the Cowboys beat the Cardinals at home.
Steve Pallure.
Oh, my gosh. Is that the answer? That'd be amazing. I was just going to say Romo.
Maybe Troy Aikman,
I was going to say
don't know.
Romo.
Your answer. Actually, Drew Bledsoe.
Oh.
That's how it's been 20 years since the Cowboys have a home victory against the Cardinals. And, to Keyshawn Johnson. Peerless Price was on that team. Lusaka Polite.
I was on
Marion
that.
the Barbarian scored twice. And it's
Wow.
yeah. So I'm just saying it's been a while.
Outstanding.
Fix that soon.
Yeah, outstanding stuff as always. We thank you for everything that you do, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Sounds good, and thank you for agreeing to disagree.
There you go.
We can all do that.
Yeah,
It's
for
okay.
sure.
I love it.
Cowboys' third down defense yesterday. Can I focus on that a little bit yesterday?
Yeah. What's the stat? 18 of 18 3rd-and-1 conversions.
Yeah.
They have not forced a 4th down on 18 3rd-and-1 tries this year. That has to be historic.
Yeah. It's
I don't like it here
it's
anymore.
horrendous the way that they play their third down defense right now. But what happened is, let me point out some of these if I could.
I was surprised. I looked at the stats. They were only 7 of 13.
I know, because they started
It
off.
started 7 of 9.
They start off 7 and 9. That's the problem.
3rd and 16, bang, no problem.
All right, this is some of the things that happened that I noticed on film, okay? So let me just walk you through. This is just basically like the first drive. Just looking at
it's
things.
nauseating.
3rd and 8 on the Arizona 13. Okay, they got Bland. He's going to play press coverage against Harrison Jr. So Eberflus is going to bring 7 around the blitz. Fowler gets ridden to the ground by Williams, the tackle. Should have been a holding call. Absolutely missed.
Maybe a face mask.
Missed badly there. Harrison is able to push off at the top of the route to get the separation.
Not surprised.
And that wasn't called either. Of
course it was.
Yeah.
So you really had two penalties on the play that should have been called. We talked about this in the Zebra Report. This crew, this Adrian Hill, his crews, they're always not gonna do anything to help the home team here. They're gonna make sure they screw the home team all they can. 3rd and 10 at Arizona 31 appears to be 4 across in the secondary, right? That we talk about that cover 4 where you have the corners and the safeties. Eberflus again brings 7 with a slot blitz. Okay, Eberflus is doing things where we're like, yeah, here we go, bringing pressure. Thomas jumps into the neutral zone on this play, so it's a free play. And then Ezeraku is laid off the snap, and he arrives a step late. But the ball is out. Harrison just runs the out on Bland. But this happened a couple of different times with Ezeraku. Zach, I didn't notice if you noticed that. Just a little bit late on some of these rushes and stuff like that. He got kind of caught up at the tackles, too, a little bit. Like instead of having space to work, him and our tackles were kind of like hip to hip on some of these things, and it wasn't twist stunts or anything.
Yeah, it wasn't clean.
There wasn't a lot of clean.
They kind of got tied.
Yeah, but if it's a free play right there, and Ezeraku laid off the snap. 3rd and 6 from the 50. Eberflus rushes 4 with Williams and Ezeraku dropping. Okay? So I'm sitting there thinking, your better pass rushers are all of a sudden now dropping? Mm-hmm. This is where you get, when as a coach, you're feeling like, well, you're getting too smart here. You know, that fire zone where, okay, we're bringing secondary guys and linebackers, but let's let our 2 better passers, Williams, I say, but let's let Ezeraku drop in space here.
Yeah, what
you're kind of like, and so what happens is Bell is playing in the slot against McBride, and he grabs him. I mean, it's clear. He just grabs him. He tackles him. Not comfortable in space. The official, the passes, it's a clear hold. Passes incomplete. Officials flag Bell for the hold, which absolutely should have been called. So that's an automatic first down. Eberflus shows a double A-gap blitz. It's 3rd and 6 at the Dallas 41. Eberflus shows that double A-gap blitz. We've seen that Mike Zimmer kind of look, right? Where they mug those guys up on the line. But he backs out again. He goes cover 3. Wilson runs a route short of the sticks. Brissett is able to climb the pocket to find Wilson short of the sticks. Bland has a chance for the stop here, but he can't get him to the ground. Wilson overpowers them, so it's a first down. But ball was short of the sticks. He was probably 2-3 yards short of the sticks, and Bland had a chance, couldn't get it done.
That was the beginning of the, what happened there?
What's it?
3rd and 5 from the Dallas 29. Eberflus shows blitz, but drops Houston and Ezeraku again in coverage. Brissett still has time in the pocket. Bridges in good position on Harrison. Ball's too wide. So that led to a field goal there. But here we are again. Houston, Ezeraku dropping. For what reason? Probably need to get them to be attacked.
Is that a simulated pressure?
Guess so. One of those things where, it's like...
They'll never see it coming.
They'll never see it coming.
Of course not.
We're going to disguise this, but let's take our best guys and not do anything. All right, here we go. 3rd and 14 at the Arizona 49. Williams gets off the ball early. That's the tackle. Williams is off. No call for motion. And so, anyway, both Osa and Houston get close to getting home. They're playing cover 3. Houston curls between Bland and Bell for the reception. This is like that zone coverage again, Dawson, we were talking about, where everybody's kind of lined up. The linebackers not in really good shape, not where they need to be. But Harrison manages a curl between Bland and Bell. So you got the safety in the corner right there, but the ball's right there for the first down. But on 3rd and 14, they get a first down on that play. 3rd and 1 on the Dallas 6. Arizona quick snaps on this play. Remember, they got up to the line really quick, and Dallas, they weren't ready on defense. Ezeraku's looking for the call as the ball's coming his direction. He gets cut. Murray does a good job of working outside to prevent the touchdown, but that could have been they score on the next play, but that was Dallas wasn't ready with the personnel, nor did they get the call in time. 3rd and 16. Here's another one. 3rd and 16 from the Arizona 29. Eberflus rushes 4. He gets pressure from Houston inside. Pressure from Clark forces Brissett to have to move to his right. Has no choice but to throw the ball short to McBride short of the stick. So they get off the field here on the 3rd and 16. Good job by the pressure from Clark, and then them with making Brissett have to move. 3rd and 3 of the Dallas 35. They're going to try to run the wheel route to McBride on this one, but he gets covered well by Bland. Now we're starting to play some defense here. But he's covered well by Bland and Stewart, so they kind of double team him. Brissett dumps the ball to Knight in the flat. Jones gets beat to the sticks. Mm-hmm. Okay, 3rd and 3. We remember that. This is when they start throwing the ball to the flat, and you couldn't stop that.
Yeah.
Another 3rd and 1. You get inside handoff to Knight. Ezeraku goes inside. James fills. Murray now laid over the top. Thomas misses the tackle. That's going to be a first down for you right there. 3rd and 5 from the Dallas 16. You get a nice job by Clowney beating Williams, again, the tackle we talked about, to the inside, and he gets into the throwing lane. He tips the ball, and Bland gets called for defensive holding on McBride. But remember, the flag gets picked up because the ball got tipped. If you don't tip that ball, it's probably a touchdown. Because there's going to be, Bland is holding on, but down there, McBride's probably going to make the damn play, because this is the kind of player he is down in the red zone. You have a 3rd and 3 in the Arizona 29. This is a sack. Yet Clowney beats Williams around the edge. Clark's able to work around Brown as well in the twist. Brissett has nowhere to go, so they're starting to find a way to get some pressure. They have a false start from Hernandez on a 3rd and 18. They throw a screen to DeMarcado that was snuffed out by Clark. That was really, really good play. That was a 3rd and 23. So again, here we go. Great read by Clark, the pressure from Osa, and that helps the situation there. 3rd and 12 is another one here where there's excellent coverage across the board. Bell gets away with a hold on McBride. Clowney crashes down inside to force Brissett wide. Clark's there to make him pull the ball down and scramble for a short gain. See, you're starting to see they're starting to kind of pick up things. And here's the final one. 3rd and 12, an excellent coverage across the board. Bell gets away with another hold. We talk about Clowney again. He forces Brissett wide, but Clark makes him there to scramble for the short game. Like that was the previous play. I'm sorry, but that's the kind of they started playing 3rd down defense better. Like early in the game, they just weren't. They were trying some things. They were trying some 7-man pressure. They were trying to show some different looks. Brissett kind of took advantage of that, but then they started kind of attacking with more of their 4-man line stuff, and those guys were starting to get home. So unfortunately for Dallas, they didn't play good enough 3rd down defense. I think this is where really that the Arizona Cardinals killed you in this football game, is their ability to, early in that game, get those 3rd downs and convert long 3rd down yardage situations. It's a shame, though, that Dallas didn't decide to play defense until later in the game.